Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is March 5th to the 7th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, and Ranger Stock Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info. Hey, so Psycho Blue, it's been a while,
Shut up! I'm smarter than you!
It's been 20 years, not 10, I want to correct myself, but 20 years you've been dead and you were in the comic books. I gotta ask Psycho Blue, how you been, man? How's you dead?
I feel great! And I don't look a day under 21.
I'm glad to hear.
I had all the cosmetic work done. One of the local LA doctors here typed me right up.
Well, I'm glad that
Don't I look great? Don't I look fantastic?
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I gotta ask. I thought you were a green card.
I had a butt implant. Look. See my butt implant? Good. Good doctor. Let me know if you need his number. I can hook you up.
So we do have some viewers. Leo started off.
Yes. What is up, everyone? This is Leo, aka Psycho Fox. I am with Ryan, and I am with one of the legends in the game of voice acting. We got our boy Wally Wingert.
Yeah, it's a game, all right.
You guys may remember him from Power Rangers in Space as Psycho Blue, from the Batman Arkham franchise, the Riddler, and many, many more. Wally, how you been today, dude?
Pretty darn good. I'll keep my little buddy there, and we'll have some potato chips, and we're all good. How are you?
I'm good. It's hot.
I haven't seen you guys since November, right?
Was it November or was it last June?
I think it was last year.
Did I see you in Orlando?
No, it was. We saw you at I think it was Nerd. Is it Pasadena or Nerdbot?
Roll Toy Fest.
Yes, yeah.
It
was last. I traveled so much last year, I can't even remember where I was at any given time. So it was a lot of fun. Cat hairs everywhere. Damn it. Sorry. I like a nice, clean work environment. How are you? What's happening?
It's hot.
It's
Summer
hot.
finally hit LA.
Now,
It's
Mr.
like 100
Mr.
degrees.
Leonard, where are you?
I am in the San Fernando Valley area, so
Oh, yeah,
I'm around
me too.
like Pierce College. Oh, really?
Well,
Nice.
so you were in LA today, you said?
Yeah, I was around the LA area, like down there and stuff.
Oh,
so I
okay.
just got
But
back.
you live here.
Yes, I live here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Me, I live.
Let me try and maximize this thing here. See if I can.
Yeah, me, I live in Eagle Rock, so near Pasadena. So.
Oh, so you guys could have just come over.
Yeah.
I mean, we could next time. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
And with that being said,
So you guys could have just come over, and we could have put our Psycho Ranger masks on, and we could have just had the conversation like that. So it would be awesome.
oh,
I'm kind of mixing the brands here a little bit, but
I have to take this off.
this is already amazing.
oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, said Ryan.
I look better with a mask on. I got this from my friend, Mr. Awesome.
You're fine. You're fine.
On it.
It's fine. Wait, go ahead, Ryan.
Let's get you started. So, Wally, how did you start with your career in voice acting?
I started with how's that? Is that look cool? Is that hip?
Yep.
Cool. Nice. Do you know who makes these, by the way? Who's the guy that makes these masks?
No.
Oh,
Oh.
these are really cool. I saw this and I thought, this is great. My friend Mr. Awesome said, well, I sent you a little something and you might, it's no big deal. But when I opened it up, I was like, this is great. This is the one I wear all the time because it's real thin and it's real breathable and everything. So it's kind of nice. Let's see. Starting. Well, I always did voices as a kid when I was growing up in South Dakota, and then I got into radio as a DJ when I was about 16 years old. So it allowed me the opportunity to do a lot of characterizations on my radio show. And then when I moved out here in the 80s to be an actor, I quickly fell out of love with the whole on-camera world because they just basically wanted you to be a type, and I didn't want to be a type. I wanted to be characters. And then I discovered voiceover. I was like, well, I've done voices all my life, pretty much. So this really plays well into it. And I was always a serious cartoon fan. If you see here, I have been collecting. There's Donny Osmond's ass. Hi, Donny. He also had a butt implant at the same place that the so you need a butt implant. I got the perfect guy for it. J-Lo's guy. He's J-Lo's guy. So as you can see, there's one of my favorite cartoons, Groovy Ghoulies, from the 70s. It was these monsters that played rock and roll in a castle. So I got a bunch of other cartoon Halloween masks and stuff. So I was always into cartoons. So when somebody said, well, voiceover, that's cartoon voices, I'm like, oh, sign me up for that. So that was kind of the thing that piqued my interest after I fell out of love with the very unimaginative world of on camera. So started booking some things and got bigger and better agents and bigger and better jobs, and started working with some really amazing people, and it's been a blessed life.
As we mentioned before, you are the voice of Psycho Blue from Power Rangers in Space, and I gotta ask, one, what was the audition process like for Power Rangers in Space to voice Psycho Blue, and did you ever think that Power Rangers would grow as big as it is now?
Well, I lived out here during the first season of Power Rangers. I mean, I saw the whole thing explode. And I wasn't quite working at Universal yet, but I saw on the news the line of cars on the freeway trying to get into Universal Studios to see the Power Ranger thing. I'm like, wow, this is good. This is huge. So I pretty much figured out when the audition came down that it was on a pretty big show. So I was excited about it. Oh, my hair's still wet. Sorry. I'm trying to get it to dry. On the hottest day of the year, of course, I wear a stocking.
I mean, it's luscious still, so it doesn't really matter.
Great. This is the alternative to having to do my hair. So yeah, when the audition came up, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't have to wear any tight costumes or anything, do I? Oh no, it's strictly voiceover. The guys, already put the tight costume on. He has a helmet on, and you just have to do a voice. So at the time, I was doing Beetlejuice at Universal Studios. So I was always doing the kind of. Hey, I'm the ghost with the most cool, baby. Yeah. There's that guy for later. Yeah. So I was doing all that. So I just kind of said, oh, I can, do a crazy psycho laugh. So it was pretty fun. So I auditioned and got it. As I said, well, as long as I don't have to wear any tight costumes. And they also had me do a couple of other characters as well, as long as I was in the booth. If you remember the one episode I was reviewing last year when I went to Orlando, my friend Brandon, who set this whole thing up, sent me some episodes to review. So, because it's been 20 years, and there was an owl character that was this big owl, like, he was flying around and he was being destroyed, and not. I don't think it had anything to do with the rest of the show. It's just this weird random put in thing. But I said, oh yeah, that was me too. I forgot I'd done the owl character. So there's a couple of other little monster characters and stuff that I'd done in the meantime. But, the first thing that struck me was when I saw the video was, wow, these costumes are really pretty cool. The Power Ranger costumes are, whatever. But the Psycho costumes, I was like, wow, those are rock and roll, man. Those have, with the cool spiny, thing with the leather and but that's really cool.
Yes.
So my buddy Anthony cosplays this character. And he showed up to Orlando and let me borrow his helmet just to have it on the table there. It was really cool. So it is quite a cool costume. So I would love to see these guys come back at some point, but who knows if they ever will or not. If the costumes even still exist. So where'd you go? Are we still on? Hello?
Yes, we are. Funny enough, Wally. So
where we go?
Yeah, you said it was 20 years ago. So I remember I interviewed you last year, and I made the mistake, and I'm going to clear the air. I said that In Space turned 10. I meant 20. I apologize. It was Sunday in the morning. Okay.
I'm not counting. I'm numerically retention impaired anyway. So you could have said it was 2 or it was 200.
2 months ago.
Yeah. Power Rangers Space 200 years ago. Yep, that was me. Yeah, 200 years ago.
You're in space 2 months ago.
Yeah, no, it's 2 months ago. Yeah, it feels like 2 months ago. I mean, the time really, really, really flies. But yeah, it's hard to believe it was what 97, 98 when that happened. That was one of the first things I think I ever did in voiceover.
98, yes.
98, yeah. That was one of the first things I did in voiceover. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was fun working with Scott, Page Factor, and the rest of the people. Of course, we did our lines one at a time. We didn't see any of the other guys or anything. In fact, I first met the voices behind the other Psycho Rangers last October. Or last November in Orlando. Other than that, I'd never met these guys. So, I mean, because you come in, one at a time and record your thing, and off you go. And I don't know whatever happened to the girls who voiced the Psycho Rangers, but it'd be cool. But I never met them either. So, like I said, when you dub a foreign cartoon or an anime or a show like that, you dub all your stuff on your own. There's no group setting or anything, unlike like a regular animated cartoon like Family Guy or Avengers or one of those, or Garfield, which is kind of one of the downsides of doing that kind of stuff, is you just never get to see any of the other actors. But yeah, whatever. It's fun.
So Wally, go to the next question. So you did come back for Lost Galaxy. Can you tell us the experience while voicing that reunion, a special team up where you guys came back as the main villains? Well, for like 2 episodes.
I was like, you guys are willing to pay me money to do this again? Sign me up. I'm back. I'm totally there. Totally there. The checks cleared the first time, and I was like, all right, I'll totally work for these guys again. So it was, it's very cool. I'm like, wow, they came back, huh? And I thought, well, it's no doubt due to my personal performance that made these characters so fascinatingly compelling that they had to have. No, I'm joking. I knew that the characters looked cool, and I knew that they had cool personalities, and everybody loves a villain. One thing I learned from playing the Riddler and all the other things is people love to hate a villain, and same thing with the Riddler, and like I said with Psycho Blue, is they're villains you love to hate. How do you defeat them? They're basically the essence of the Power Rangers, but the evil versions. It's like Evil Kirk in the old Star Trek series, where it's like, oh, Captain Kirk is like the meat Kirk because he's split in two in the transporter, and then you have the mascara Kirk where Shatner puts the mascara on. Now he's evil. Evil Kirk with a mascara. So Guyliner it translates to evil apparently in the Star Trek world. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But I was thinking, wow, spinoff, man. I mean, these guys should take a show on the road. I'd love to see. When I saw Anthony's costume, I thought this is a really cool costume to see it up close. But I would love to see what the actual show costumes, look like, because I don't know. There's something about the metal flake paint that they use to paint the whole thing with the blue, and it's just I've always loved my Schwinn bike when I was a kid was that color of blue, and it had the metal flake paint job, and I thought I was the coolest kid on the block. So anytime I see a car that's metal flake blue or anything, so I think when you paint these, you probably have to use some sort of automotive paint or something to really get the look. But I don't know, those characters look very, very cool. And I personally, I don't think they were on enough. I know they had other villains, the talking snail monster and the crab mutant and all the other whatever. But I thought the pound for pound, the Psychos probably dealt more of a vicious blow than any of their other villains, their counterparts that they've had in the past. So plus the best thing about them is they were the Power Rangers because they had taken all the, and it's like, how do you defeat yourself? It's like, how does mild Kirk kill evil Kirk? The evil Kirk's always going to have the edge because he's got the evil. He's more conducive to being evil. So it's pretty cool. It's a great storyline how they took the essence of the originalism. Like, we can't fight these guys. We can't beat them because they know they can anticipate our every move because they are us. But they're like the bad part of us. Great. So fantastic.
Amazing.
Just aside, but they came back in the comics, right?
Yes, they did in the Psychopath.
And in the comics, they show the guys what they look like when they're in their human form now.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did.
I thought it was weird because I saw a thing the other day on Instagram that Psycho Blue, without his Psycho Blue costume, has these weird like face tattoos or something.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's like Renji from Bleach, you know? Like, like, is there something going on there with a Renji thing? Anyway, so who I also played on Bleach.
Yeah. Fox?
Yeah,
Well,
so
I need face tattoos, is what somebody's telling me.
no. Listen. You put Tom Savini to shame, and you so it's all good.
It
was going stepping away from Power Rangers real quick. So, well, you were actually part of one of my favorite gaming franchises. I don't know. You can see the shirt back here.
Oh,
Batman. You were the Riddler in the Batman Arkham Asylum franchise, which was one of the biggest video game franchises within the last decade. I gotta ask, what was it like voicing the Riddler for the Arkham franchise?
well, unlike Power Rangers that I was not real, I didn't really have a vested interest in because I was never really a fan. Where'd you go?
I'm back.
Oh, there. Okay. All right. Don't leave me. You frightened me like that. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. Wow, nice. Unlike the Power Rangers, which I was aware of but not really a fan of, I've been a Batman fan since I was 5, of the old, 60s Batman Adam West series. So getting to play a villain and be a part of the lore of Batman, and now I'm kind of part of the lore, it blows my mind. So like, no, that's I've chiseled out my own little part of the Batman world now. And as a lifelong Batman fan, that means everything to me. So yeah, it was really quite amazing. When my agent called and said, "Hey, you're going to be the Riddler," I'm like, "What? Yeah, you're going to be the Riddler in the video game." I'm the Riddler? That's crazy. But they had a real specific audition request for him in the specs when it came down, and the main spec was can't sound anything like Mark's Joker. Because there's been a lot of confusion in the past with casual Batman fans who don't really know Batman. Oh yeah, the Joker, and they mean the Riddler, or the Riddler, and they mean the Joker. Because they both giggle and they both kind of cross-pollinate, and they're both thin. So they really wanted to give him his own personality. And they said something that really rang in my brain as like, now I get it. Is they said they wanted him to be kind of a game show host. Where he's leading Batman through all of these traps, but you don't see him, you hear him on a speaker, and it's kind of like he's leading, Batman through these mazes and these games. And I said, oh, game show host, okay. So I threw a couple of voice types together and hybridized a couple things and got the job, and God bless the day that I did, because that was fantastic. And then it turned into a bunch of games after that, 3 or 4 Arkham games, and then Origins, and then VR, and a bunch of other things. So it was really fantastic. And then I got to play the 60s Riddler, which I love, the Frank Gorshin Riddler, in 2 animated films. So I'm like, how many guys get to play the same character, but in 2 kind of different worlds with 2 completely different personalities? But when I was doing the Arkham Riddler, I would always do a little nod to Frank Gorshin, because I knew Frank. I always loved Frank's work. In the laugh, in the Arkham Riddler laugh, I would always do a little nod to Frank Gorshin. Just for a split second. So I always had Frank, in my mind, even when I was doing that. But yeah, fantastic. I mean, just wow, to be a part. Imagine you guys are into Power Rangers. Imagine if you got a role as and now you're, Leonard the smog monster from one of the Power Ranger episodes, and now you're part of the legend. Now you're part of the history. Now it's like that will always be your contribution. And the nicest thing was said on some sort of never read comments on the internet from people, because it'll depress you. But I went there one day, and one guy said the nicest thing. He said, "Wingert is to the Riddler what Hamill is to the Joker," and I'm like, wow, that was heavy duty. So that comment meant everything. So thank you, whoever made that comment. You made my day. So yeah, blew my mind. And then, same thing with becoming Ant-Man, in Avengers, because I always was a comic book kid. And so pretty fantastic life, pretty fantastic way to live.
So now going forward to anime. So you actually voiced one of my favorite characters in anime history. You actually did voice Renji Abarai from Bleach. Can you tell us the experience while voicing Renji?
Well, initially they had just a sketch of him, and then that's all you get when you get the audition. You get some sort of sketch, and then you get the lines, like 5 or 6 lines. And the sketch they had of him was real beady-eyed, and he looked like that. And I said, wow, he looks like a young Jack Nicholson. So I'm like, I'm just going to kind of do him as Jack Nicholson. I'm Renji Abari from the 13 Court Guard Squads, ready to kick your ass. And I thought, let's just make him a young Jack Nicholson. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh, thank you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'd like to thank my lawyer, so that was pretty cool. In that, I got that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. I had no idea, again, because I wasn't necessarily a fan at the time, how well loved this character was. And again, never read the comments on the internet, but everybody was like, so this guy's a cartoon actor from Invader Zim and Family Guy, and why is he doing the blah, 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 blah? Everybody has such an inflated sense of importance about these shows. They're basically just shows, folks. They're not, whatever. So, I made the mistake of reading the some very unkind comments, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to do it and whatever. So then I did it, and then I started getting fan mail. I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's what we were doing was working. So it all's fun. But yeah, I love Renji. I just wish that they hadn't, somewhere in one of the seasons, like halfway through, they decided he was going to be comic relief. He went from this really cool, tough guy with this bankai and all the ass-kicking ability, and then it's like, nah, we're going to make him kind of a goof now, and he's stumbling over stuff, and he's slurping his noodles, and he's, got a crush on this girl, Rukia, and he says, so now he's kind of a dork. I'm like, what happened to the cool, like, Renji that was kicking ass and making a snake come out of his sword or something?
I think I know. It's called filler.
Well, that was a learning process, because unlike over here where they have, the animated shows and the comic books are a little different. Over there in Japan, the manga rules, and the animated shows copy what the manga's doing. So they have to kind of wait for the new manga to come up. But hey, we got to produce a show. So, all right, well, let's do the slurping noodle episode with Renji. Okay, now we're going to do the can't find his slippers episode. Oh boy, now we're going to do the going shopping for cabbage episode. Oh, this is fascinating stuff. And then it's like, okay, the new manga's out. Now we got something to go on. So they don't have the ability to kind of be separate and write their own adventures. They kind of depend on that. So after that was explained to me, I was like, okay, I kind of get that. So,
well, either way, Bleach is still was still one of the best animes to have come out, and the fact that it's coming back, that has to mean something. Like, they're doing it right, so let's keep going with it.
Yeah, well, it's been so long that who knows if it's going to be the same, group of actors. It may not be. Everybody, if it's different producers, they're going to probably want to put their, thumbprint on it and say, no, this time Renji's going to be a talking dog that we found who can do the lines, and we're going to have him do it. They have all sorts of agendas that they want to put in for whatever. So they may or may not have us back. Who knows? They may not. Fine, I'm available. But recastings, like that happen all the time. That's why in this business, the main rule is don't fall in love too much with any of these things, because they inevitably will get, not inadvertently, or inadvertently too, but inevitably will get recast somewhere down the line, and then you're crushed. You feel like, a girlfriend just jilted you. So, any character I've ever done, it's been fun while it's happened, but just knowing that at any given time, another iteration will come out of the property, and it will probably be another voice actor. But so everybody gets a turn on the Ferris wheel. Every kid gets a turn on the merry-go-round, on the teeter-totter. So it's like, all right, well, I've had my turn. That's fine. If they have me come back for another turn, fine, I'm all for it. If not, I totally get it. I mean, that was the whole thing with Final Fantasy. That just came out. They had somebody else playing. Who did I play in that again?
It was 13, right?
Rufus Shinra. So they had another guy play Rufus Shinra, and I was Rufus Shinra in the old one. And they said, "Oh, how do you feel about not being captured?" Whatever. They can do what they want. It's their property. I mean, I don't own it. I don't take it personally. They got to do what they got to do. And there's people writing me sad fan letters. I'm like, just enjoy the new version and see, if it works, it works. If not, it doesn't work. But thank you for being concerned, but no skin on my back. Like I said, I don't own the character. They can do what they want to with it. They can cast who they want to. So yeah, whatever. That's one of the lessons of this industry. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that too. I'm gonna
that.
outside of that. Now let's go into Marvel. So you have been in the Marvel game. You were in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, but notably you were in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes as Hank Pym. So what was it like voicing a character from Marvel and just all around the entire series?
Okay. Very special story. When I was in junior high, well, I was always a nerd. I was always like comic book guy. I was never sports guy. I think I was into baseball for like 10 minutes. Other than that, I was always cosplaying when I was, a kid, dressing up as a vampire and biting the neighborhood girls. But I always loved comic books. And I had a really good friend named John in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and he was a comic book kid like I was. But you kind of had to hide your comic book nerdism in the closet because that kind of stuff would get you beat up. So, but John was a great guy, and we'd always like get together. And he was a Marvel guy, I was more of a DC guy because of the Batman connection. But we would always discuss. But I love Marvel. I had tons of Marvel comics. So we would always, read comics and talk about comics. And then when he moved to Wilmer, Minnesota, we kept corresponding and we'd talk about comics. And his brother Tony drew quite well. Was actually a pretty good artist. So John would do Horning Comics. Was this last name Horning? And he would do Horning. I mean, he had his own characters he created. I had Wingert Comics, so we had all these things. So we would keep in touch on it, which is pretty cool. So sadly, he passed away in the in the early 2000s, right on 2004 or 5. And his brother told me that he had passed away. He had the thing that John Ritter had, where his heart had a little hole in it, just kind of bled out. He was with his wife at a screening of Batman Begins. And they took him to the hospital. The screening wasn't feeling very well, so then he passed away. So when I got the job as Hank Pym, because they had cast all the other characters, and Jamie Simone, who was the voice director, had said, "No, I've got the right guy for this because Pym is a little bit different. He's kind of a pacifist. He likes science, and he's not really the square-jawed Captain America or Thor or whatever those guys. He's a little more, well, I like science, and don't use science for violence, and science should be whatever." So I went in to read for the producers a couple times, and then they said, "Oh yeah, you're Hank Pym, you're Ant-Man, and you'll be Giant Man." And I was like, "Well, that's crazy. That's great." But then there's always that thing to where they can uncast you at any time, where oh no, we've decided to get this guy at the last minute. So I just never. Early on in my career, I figured that out, that sometimes you'd be canceled. They'd cast you and then, "Oh yeah, we're going to pay you a cancellation fee, but we're going to recast." So again, don't get married to any of this stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I'm looking around for cool Ant-Man stuff to add to my collection. And I'm like, there's a really cool Bowen Ant-Man statue bust that I want to get for my collection, but it's expensive, and I don't know if I should get it because I don't know if I'm really going to be Ant-Man. If they decide to cancel me, I'm just going to see it up in my cabinet every day and just be reminded of losing that role. So I went to one of the producers. I'm like, "Oh, I'd like to get this Bowen, bust, but am I really Ant-Man?" "Oh no, you're really Ant-Man. You can go ahead and buy it." So I bought it on eBay that night. So that was pretty fun. But when I got the word that I was going to be Pym and Ant-Man and Giant Man, I literally looked to the heavens and said, "John, I'm an Avenger! Can you believe it?" So I think he'd have been pretty tickled by that, as was I. So it was just kind of a full circle way to kind of honor that friendship. So, and the first time, literally, they had it in the script within the 52 episode series. Some of the characters got to say it more than others, but I got to say it once. Avengers Assemble. And when I got to say that, I literally had to fight a tear in my eye. I literally was like, wow. I immediately, it's like what do they call a rack focus in film, where it's like, when I saw that in the script, my mind rack focused through the tunnel of time when I was a kid on a snowy South Dakota day, with it blizzarding outside. I got my stack of comics and my hot chocolate and my Red Hots, and I'm listening to the radio, and I'm reading, my comics, and I'm thinking, wow. See, reading comics, was not a bad thing. It was research for my future future life. So whenever anything in the story would happen, okay, well, here's the thing where I'm like, oh no, I know. I read this many years ago, because these scripts really took a lot from the old comics. You know, they kept the legend alive. And of all the characters in that show, Pym had the greatest character arc. And I've always said, it's like, well, you know, Captain America is Captain America and Hulk's Hulk and Thor's Thor. But Pym, you know, goes from being a pacifist, creating Ultron, and now he's, you know, got to use science to fight crime. And then he hates life and he fakes his death and he comes back as this, you know, doing a bunch of kick-assery as a Yellow Jacket. And it's fantastic. So I said, he's really got the best arc, because he's like, okay, pacifist. Okay, now he's superhero. Now he's giant man. Now he's faking his death. Now he's crazy. And it's a great character arc. So knowing that going into it, I said, oh no, this is the character to play, because he's got the most interesting stuff to do as a character. So I was very happy about that. Elated, over the moon.
Definitely.
I've stunned you into silence. That's fantastic.
I mean, yeah, like we said before, we were big fans of the show growing up as kids. So to talk to someone who was part of that legacy, that the cultural phenomenon that the show had, you know, left, is really cool to us.
Well, it's gone down in history as probably one of the favorite Marvel animated shows of all times, and certainly one of the most critically acclaimed, for which I'm very proud of to have been involved in that. The writing was terrific. But again, this was before the Marvel Cinematic Universe happened with Scott Lang and Ant-Man. I said, oh, they're doing an Ant-Man movie. That's fantastic. I wonder who's playing Pym. Michael Douglas. And I'm like, huh? He's like 80. Oh yeah, no. I was like, so they're not doing the blonde-haired Pym and the Ant-Man suit underneath the lab coat? Well, they'll do a flashback to the flashback. So when I found out they were doing the Scott Lang, I'm like, okay, whatever. But you know, I love those movies. They have such a sense of humor about them, and Paul Rudd's great. And I've actually been called in to voice double him from time to time for the actual feature films. Captain America, Civil War, Endgame. I've actually, some of those lines that you hear him say is actually me. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, we didn't know that.
Was I supposed to say that? I don't know. So
hey, the movie made billions of dollars.
Oh,
it's okay.
Yeah.
You beat Avatar, right? So you actually did.
Right. So it's kind of cool. I got to be two versions of the same villain for DC and two versions of the same hero for Marvel. So I like I said, it's a blessed existence. So couldn't ask for more.
I'm actually a huge Garfield fan. Can you tell us what was it like voicing John Arbuckle?
Who's a Garfield fan? Oh, you are?
Yeah, so what was it like voicing John Arbuckle in the Garfield show?
That was weird, because initially they were going to start off with these animated features, and Jim Davis wanted to actually see the people audition, because he's in Muncie, Indiana. So they had an audition at a house, not a studio, but at a house somewhere in the Hollywood Hills. They knew that Frank Welker was going to be Garfield because he had voice doubled Lorenzo Music for the old series. So they knew that was going to happen. So they had me read a bunch of different characters, but they're shooting video. And it wasn't in an actual studio. It was a mic set up at a guy's house in his den or whatever. So we go in and we're goofing around, and they're rolling video. I said, okay, well, that's kind of strange for a voiceover audition, but yeah, whatever. So initially, I found out that I got the role of, in the movie, I think a character called Randy Rabbit. I was like, okay, because it was the first, Garfield Gets Real was the name of the first feature film. It's where Garfield goes in through a hole into the, I don't know if you've seen that movie, where there's a hole between the newspaper comics world, and you can see through a portal, you can see the people responding to the comics coming out in the newspaper and how much they enjoy them and everything. Well, Garfield sees some delicious hot dogs through this portal in real Earth, in the real world, and decides to tear a hole into the portal and go get those hot dogs. Well, now here's a cartoon character running around the real world. Very clever. So Garfield's hangout world in the comic book world, the comic strip world, is all these other comic strip characters. And they couldn't really license all the other comic strip characters to, like Dagwood, they had him in there briefly. But as far as the narrative goes, they couldn't actually have trademarked other characters, so they had to make them up. So there was Billy Bear, and there was this character, and there's this character, and there was Randy Rabbit. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm Randy Rabbit. That's pretty cool. At least I'm in a movie, and it's fine. The check will clear because Jim Davis is a multimillionaire. That's pretty great. So I show up for the table read. You familiar with what a table read is?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're at the table read, and there's a bunch of chairs all in a circle, and our scripts are all on our seats based on where we sit. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I pick up my script and it says Wally Wingert, John. I'm like, oh, I got the wrong script. It says John. And Mark A.Z. DePay, who was the director, says, no, you're going to be John. I'm like, no, I'm Randy Rabbit. No, that's going to be that guy. No, you're John. Arbuckle? He's like, yeah. Oh my gosh. So again, another one of those rack focus, moments in my life where I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Because who doesn't know John Arbuckle and who doesn't know? So all I can think of is that when Jim Davis saw the videos that went to him with these auditions, he must have thought, yeah, that guy's pretty dorky, just like John. He's not a good dresser, and he's kind of a dork. So he probably embodies John better, because of my dorkness. So I thought, well, this is great. So I had to remember kind of what I did as John in the audition, because I didn't get that role initially per the agent, so I didn't even think about that. I wasn't even on my radar anymore. I was more focused on what Randy Rabbit was going to be about, and trying to refresh that voice and character in my head. So I started off with making him kind of a little like Rick Moranis, kind of, hey, okay, and then realized that when I auditioned for him, I was basically sounding like I sounded when I talked to my own dog and cat. Because cats and dogs respond to a certain musicality in your voice. I call it sharp notes, major notes, and minor notes. So if you say to your dog, "What did you do?" They'll put the ears down, and because it's the minor key, it's the sharpest and the flats. Ba 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 ba. That's. But if you go ba da 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 da, and they go, "Oh, I did something good." So it's so that's the way I was talking to my own. It's like, "Hey, do you want a cookie? Do you want a snack? Hey, should we go for a walk? Okay. What did you do? Uh-oh, you pooped on the carpet again." That kind of musicality. So I was like, yeah, that's just kind of how I talk to my own dog and cat. So it kind of made sense. Okay, case in point, watch this. Let's see here.
Why demonstration, people?
Sorry, there is demonstration.
Hey, Roxy, do you want a kiss? Are you a good girl? You're a good girl, aren't you? Nah, she's lazy. It's hot. The guy ain't moving. I don't care how good you talk to me. Hey, Spooky, are you a good boy? Yeah, well, he definitely is Garfield, because he's completely ignoring me. Roxy, did you get a nice cookie? Roxy, did you have a nice cookie? Come here. Do you want a kiss? She's like, you know what? No, screw you. Not today. Anyway. Well, thanks, Roxy, for just completely destroying my demonstration. So normally that's kind of how you talk to, Did you have pets?
I used to have a cat.
I used to have a dog.
Okay, but what I'm talking about with the major and the minor. It's like, hey, ba 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 ba, and they go, oh, this is happy talk. So basically the same kind of thing. Because sometimes after I got the role in the series, I would start talking to my dog and cat and realizing, oh my God, I really am John Arbuckle. This is so so depressing.
Hey man, I love that your role as John. With Garfield, the one in the 2010s ones, that's my favorite versions of it. One of my favorite versions. So.
The what ones? The 2010?
Yeah. Well, basically your version.
Oh yeah, thank you. The Garfield show was so much fun, because you had Frank Welker and Greg Berger, and both had been involved in the original Garfield show. And the original guy who did John was no longer in the industry. But we got to work with such amazing people: Lorraine Newman and Stan Freberg, June Foray, just the giants. Mark Evanier, who wrote and produced that show for Jim Davis, would bring in these amazing guest stars, and it was just so much fun. And I got to do a scene with Stan Freberg and June Foray, and I'll just never forget any of that stuff. So it's been really fantastic. So yeah, I miss that show a lot. I miss those guys. Jason Marsden. We had, oh my gosh, we had so much fun. Laura Summer, just great and well written, really funny, and it was done by a French company, Dargaud Entertainment, I think, over in France. And we had songs. There were some musical numbers, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
We got to sing and we got to learn. It was a tour de force. Mark Hamill came in to voice some characters. So it was good memories there. So I think that went on for about 6 seasons, and then 3 feature films, and then the 6 seasons. So yeah, that good memories there. Really good memories. Yeah.
You've been. We talked about Arkham. You've been in many other video games. You've been in properties such as Final Fantasy, Marvel vs. Capcom, Dragon Age, Command and Conquer, and like EverQuest, Kingdom Hearts. Because Ryan's a big Kingdom Hearts fan, he will not leave me alone about it.
Oh, funny.
So I gotta ask.
Kingdom Hearts is a brilliant idea. The mashing up of the 2 worlds. How come they haven't done this years ago? I remember when I was a kid, and I watched cartoons religiously. I loved Beetle Bailey. I loved Snuffy Smith. I loved Popeye. I loved other. Well, they were all produced by King Features, because that was King Features Syndicate was the newspaper company that owned those characters. So when they went to animation, they would produce these little 11-minute cartoons for syndication. So I remember when Beetle Bailey had it's an episode called Visiting Day at Camp Swampy. And every day on the little kid show that I would watch, Captain 11, they'd have a different cartoon. They'd play Snuffy Smith, they'd play Beetle Bailey, they'd play some of the other ones. So I remember Visiting Day at Camp Swampy. Look it up, the old King Features cartoon. It was the camera panned the line of visitors who were waiting to get in to visit Camp Swampy. And there was some of the other King Features characters. There was Snuffy Smith, Barney Google, Wheezy. They were in line waiting to meet Beetle Bailey. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're in the same world. They exist in the same world. Kind of like the Garfield, Gets Real thing, where you see Dagwood walking through in the back because the creator of Dagwood had said to Jim Davis, yeah, you can, have Dagwood. And some of the other characters, cross paths. And I love crossover stuff like that. So to take the whole Japanese lore and combine it with the Disney thing and watch these people doing these adventures together is just, it's brilliant mashup stuff. So, it's what a brilliant idea. So the Kingdom Hearts thing, I think I'd done Cubby from when they were in the Peter Pan world.
Yes.
Speaking about cancellation, I was cast as Cubby in Return to Neverland, the feature film, and it was back in 97 or 98, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. I'm going to be in a Disney feature film. This is crazy. This is great. Because they wanted the Cubby from the 50s, Peter Pan. Hey, Wendy Bird. Oh, hey, Peter. That kid. The little fat dopey kid. So I'm like, all right, I can do that voice. So did multiple sessions as Cubby, and then I got the call from the agent. Well, they decided to cast a real fat kid, as opposed to a guy who was in his 40s playing a fat kid. So they cast a real fat kid. And I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of against what voiceover is really all about, where, like I said earlier, you can really be a 40-year-old guy playing a dopey, 12-year-old fat kid. But I'm like, okay, well, I kind of get that. But God bless them, they kept me in the soundtrack somewhere, like doing some singing, because the kid they cast, I guess, couldn't sing or whatever. So they kept me in the soundtrack, so I still get residual checks. But so that was my hard first lesson, because I was all excited about a Disney feature, and then it's like, well, you're not him anymore. So that was one of my hard first lessons. As you go on through this career, you're kind of like, well, I can be canceled at any time. It happens, and it's their characters, it's their show. They can do what they want to. So, like I said, just don't get married to. But then, for video games and other stuff, they decided to go back to the what's called classic cubby. So
Right.
I've done, Kingdom Hearts and a couple of other things as the classic cubby. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm happy to do it. Just show up, and it's Disney, so the checks are going to clear. So it'll be fine. So happy to do it.
That Disney check was going to clear.
The Disney check is going to clear, yeah. No doubt about that.
You've been in so many memorable gaming franchises. So my question is there a notable or memorable video game that you've done work voicing on? Like, which one stands out the most?
Besides
By far Riddler.
Outside of Arkham.
Outside of Arkham. Well, I got to be Reed Richards in a couple of video games and some things. And I guess I'm on the short list for the go-to guys for Reed Richards. I never get the square-jawed characters because I don't have the Kevin Conroy voice. They always get the kind of thoughtful scientist, Reed Richards, Hank Pym, even Enigma, to a certain extent, who's more of the brainy kind of things. And I think it's because I can take a bunch of complicated scientific words and state them clearly and like I really know what I'm talking about. So maybe that's why I get a lot of the brainy, nerdy characters. But yeah, Mr. Fantastic, cool. Again, John, hey, I'm Reed Richards. I'm Mr. Fantastic. So that's pretty cool. So anytime they call to do that, I'm totally down with it. And then again, MODOC. I get to be MODOC, so I get to be again another a Marvel villain. I am MODOC. Mechanized organism designed for killing. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. But that whole thing started with Avengers vs. Mightiest Heroes. They needed a MODOC. And do you know what those things are when a person has cancer and loses their larynx and they have to do the talk box?
Voice box, yeah.
Voice box, yeah. I said, what if this guy really was... So Jamie said, well, what do you want to, how do you want to make him really different sounding from all of the regular villains? Like, I'm a villain and I'm going to kill you now. Because that's been done so many times. I was like, how about if his voice really is electronic sounding and not like he doesn't really have kind of a real like human set of vocal cords where it's kind of mechanically generated. And I would do him kind of through my teeth. I am MODOK. I am designed for killing. Do not be disrespectful. I am MODOK. I wanted him to not have very many notes. I wanted him just kind of sound like one of those talk box things to where it's like, but you have to have a few notes in there. But I wanted him to kind of sound more mechanical because I knew that they would, in the mixing process, would make him sound a little thing. So he ended up sounding kind of cool, yeah. So I occasionally get called back to voice MODOK for games as well, which is cool. I love MODOK. So yeah, again, I'm like, wow, I'm another Marvel villain. So I guess if you hang around in this industry long enough, you get some pretty cool stuff. You just got to have stick-to-itiveness, and a lot of people bail, early, and it's kind of too bad. But yeah, you stick around. It's cool.
We actually have two more questions before we go to fan questions. So two more.
Okay.
Wally, what's your advice to any aspiring actor or actors going into voice acting?
Don't. Don't do it. No, it's learn to act. The thing I always hear, not so much anymore, but the thing I used to hear was, and I've said this before, which is really funny. Mr. Wingert, people tell me I have a really good voice and I should be a voice actor. What would you suggest to follow in that avenue? And I'm like, well, have you done any acting? No, I don't want to do any acting. I want to be a voiceover artist. Well, it is voice acting. You gotta act. Learn to act. Get into plays, get into things, whatever. Act. With your body and put makeup on and costumes. And once you learn the craft of acting, if you want to go into the more specific area of voice acting, learn how to take what you learned as an actor and translate that into just using your voice to act. If you're not interested, like me, if you're not interested necessarily in having people, pull and tease your hair and spray it and put crap all over your face and put a costume on and make you feel all stuffy. If you just want to do strictly voice acting, it's a very specific protocol to learn to do that, which is why you have a lot of TV actors who want to do this because they think it's fun or their kids will like it. And they end up not really doing a very good job because they're not trained to do that like we are. We're trained with mic technique. We know how the whole process works. We know how to do ensemble reads. And there are a few people who can do both. Mark Hamill, Phil Lamar, there are successful on-camera actors who have made the successful transition. But most of the celeb type TV actors that you see on TV, they think they're just going to show up in their pajamas, to a studio, read the lines a couple of times, and off they go to In-N-Out to get a burger. Not the case. Sometimes you'll be there for 4 hours, and you have to be fully energetic and fully charged for those 4 hours. So you've got to learn to pace yourself, which they haven't learned because it's not their protocol, it's not their training. And after the first 20 minutes, they're like, oh, this is hard work. You didn't tell me I was going to be here for 4 hours. Well, I'm sorry, that's what voice acting is. It's not just wearing your PJs and showing up. So they get kind of exhausted. It's just not their training. It's not the way they've learned to do it. So, but there's a certain charm, I guess, to having a celebrity name of an actor that you've seen. I don't get it because I don't think it adds anything to an animated character at all to have Jim Carrey doing a voice. It's like, well, he's kind of more of a distraction than anything because I'm not looking at the character, the animated character they're presenting. I'm hearing Jim Carrey's voice and I'm picturing Jim Carrey, so it kind of takes me out of it. So I don't think it's effective at all. But hey, they got to have a name to put on the marquee. So it's weird to me, and it's just really sad to see these actors who have worked all their life specifically in the realm of voiceover now relegated in a big animated feature film to additional voices. It's like, this character, big A-list star, this character, big A-list star, this character, big A-list star, additional voices, major voice actor, major voice actor, major voice actor. Really? You're relegated to additional voices when you've spent your entire life honing your craft, and some TV actor comes in because he's got some sort of notoriety from some short-lived series? That I don't get it. But hey, you know what? Like I said, don't get married to it. It's their property. They can do what they want. But I think, without naming names, I think we've learned that TV actor marquee ability does not necessarily translate into dollars or success, folks. That is not, because we've seen plenty of animated films with pretty major names of celebrities go right down the tubes because people just I don't know what this is. I'm not into this at all. And they've paid these people $20 million. It's like, well, but we're losing money. Yeah, because you paid some knucklehead TV actor $20 million to do this as opposed to getting a real voice actor who would have, done it for scale and just taken the residuals for repeat plays. So, yeah, they learn. But if you don't like, as a consumer, if you don't like that a character has been recast with a TV actor, don't give them your money. Don't see it. And when you start talking with your wallet, maybe the studios will finally listen that, yeah, maybe the TV actors aren't really the way to go with this. Maybe we do need, real voice actors. But without naming names, I think we all know, we can all come up, we won't, because that's negative. But I think we all have in our mind, you do, of some examples of that, to where yeah, big name cast, whoo, bad movie, bad characterization. The thing that kills me is because they're celebrities and they have very busy schedules, they can't get together sometimes as an ensemble. So they have to record separately, and then they piece it all together at the end. You can tell these people were never in the same room together because it just doesn't sound like they're having a cohesive conversation. It sounds like this was recorded on this day. 2 months later, this guy recorded it. They don't sound like they're really having a conversation. And without naming names, I think that we all know examples of that. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. So
So remember, people, if you're trying to become a voice actor, you gotta learn how to act first.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. Okay, back to one, everyone. Back to one. Back to
All
one.
right, take two.
Yeah. Learn to act. Yeah, that's a good one.
Fox.
So, because it is acting. You're standing in front of that mic and you got the script and you're taking somebody else's words. It's funny because in the Arkham stuff, we had to literally sometimes stop the sessions because we had to look up a word. Because Nigma would say something, I'm like, what does this mean? And the director's like, I don't know. Engineer's like, I have no idea. All right, well, let's take 5 and look this word up and see, because I want to know, because there's some guy writing this, in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, that's a good word. And you never know what the word is, because this guy, the writer, knew what it was because he's really smart and he's probably is Edward Nigma. But I don't use some of these words in my everyday language, so we have to look it up. But if I'm going to say this word, I want to know what it means so I can interpret the proper application of that word. So interesting.
So Wally, I know with everything going on, things been put on hold. But do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to tell your audience and your fans that you're doing?
No.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Well, there's a couple different reasons for that. One is NDAs. You have to sign non-disclosure agreements, and you can't really talk about all that stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff coming up, but I'm not at liberty to talk about yet. There's a feature film that we had been working on for 3-4 years. That's what they do. They do 20 sometimes. When you see an animated feature, that's not the first draft of the thing. They record it and they do an animatic, which is just drawings that they've edited to go in with the lines, not animated. But they've gone through like 20 some odd drafts before they finally settled on the final story that they present. It's a lot of work, and they go through a lot of different versions. So we were working on this particular thing, and the last screening that I saw of the animatic was really quite good. And I think they're ready to start animating. Now, whether or not they say, well, that character, let's get a celebrity to do it so we can put him on the marquee, and then I'm no longer in it, who knows? We don't know. Like I said, you just never know. But I think the reviews so far from the producers were favorable, that maybe they'll, stunt cast with a celebrity a couple of the other characters, but I was kind of a second banana. So I'm hoping, where's some wood, that I will still be in that. And then there's a big video game franchise that's coming out someday, where they have to get people into the story of the video game that will be presented. So they're going to do that by first releasing an animated feature. And you'll watch the animated feature, get acquainted with what's going on in this world. And then when the video game comes out, you're up to speed with what the storyline is, and you can play accordingly. Is that the universal sign for playing video games?
Yes, it's the
this is money. That's money. Which is yeah. So there we go. So I'll do this for a little more of that. So that's kind of exciting. I've never heard of that being done before, but for this huge video game franchise, that's kind of how they're going to do it. So we did the main tracks, spent a week in a studio doing the main voice tracks, which will go to another country where the mocap actors will mime out the actions to our lines. They'll play our lines on a speaker, and then they'll mouth them or they'll act them out. And then they'll kind of capture that, animate it. And then when it gets to the point where they like what's being done, it'll come back to us, and we'll ADR it, additional dialogue recording. We'll dub it, and then then we do the video game. So it's an exciting process. So pretty funny.
So guys, does that answer the question to you?
So we're gonna do because this is really all about Psycho Blue. That's why we're here today. So we're gonna do a little magic spell. Will you help me on this? Okay. We're gonna summon up Psycho Blue here on this show today. So, but you have to, like Beetlejuice, you have to say Psycho Blue. You have to say it 3 times in order for it to fully come to fruition. So, what we'll do is when I give you the instruction, you will say Psycho Blue 3 times, and we'll see if Psycho Blue can be summoned to this very show. And I think we're going to have a lot of luck doing this. So on the count of 3, we're going to all say together Psycho Blue 3 times already, and we'll see, like Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Psycho
Blue. Psycho Blue. Psycho Blue.
Oh my God.
Psycho. I'm Blue and I'm Psycho. Woo! Hey everybody, how's it going? Hey, what's that? What's going on? Hey guys. Hey, is this the Power Rangers podcast? Wow.
Yes.
I'm on camera. Woo! Hey, would you like to hear me sing my song?
Yes.
Yes.
For you, I'd wash my hair with stinky glue. I'd put a spider in my shoe. I'd fry my legs. I'd eat them too. For you. I wrote that. You like the spider in my shoe?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Bye.
Speaking of that, Wally, my good friend Louis said this.
What's that?
Oh.
He's psycho and he's blue. I guess the spell didn't really work, but
No, we got some good though. It's okay.
all good.
Was it like doing the intro for Jay Leno?
Why?
What was the like doing?
Martinez. Oh,
Like,
hi, Seth.
like, so he's asking, was it like doing the intro for Jay
Is
Leno?
this 7th inning stretch? Brought to you by Lay's Potato Chips. Now in delicious sour cream and onion flavor. And be sure to wash it down with a cool, refreshing, Pure Leaf iced tea. So if Lay's and Pure Leaf would like to send me some free product to my house for the endorsement, I'm happy to accept. Oh, guess who's awake?
Oh.
Oh!
Yay!
Hey!
Hello. Wow,
buddy.
that nose. Oh, you're a nice girl, huh? Oh, I know why. It's almost dinner time for you, huh? Roxy, is it time for your snack? Do you want a snack? You love getting a snack. No. Yes, it's time for your snack. Do you want a snack? Are you tired? Am I boring you? Okay, we're gonna get a snack pretty soon. Okay, Garfield, where's Odie? Where's Garfield? There he is, waiting for his snack right over there. Okay, go lay down now. Can you wave to everybody? Wave to Seth. Seth's got a question we didn't answer. Okay, Roxy. Okay, sit down. Sit down. Wave to Seth. Wave to Seth. Yay! Hi, Seth. Okay, anyway. All right. Get lost, dog.
So, yeah,
No, she's the love of my life. Really, my heart. Where'd she go? All right. She did get lost. Wow, she's a good dog. Yes. Bring Seth's question up again. I'm sorry.
So was it like doing the intro for Jay Leno?
He's the coolest guy on the planet Earth. You're hearing all these stories now about how these people who have these shows are like creating toxic work environments, and they're firing a bunch of people and getting rid of them. His is the exact opposite. His was such an amazing work environment that I miss that show. I miss that job every day. Yeah, the money was great. Fine, it was cool to have a regular job, but I miss those people. I was at my chiropractor's the other day, and I saw Ed, who's one of the lighting guys, the spot operators. I'm like, Ed, oh my God! What an amazing group of people. I would have been happy to do that show the rest of my life, just because it was like going to see family at the end of every day. I had to be there to intro the show every day at 4:00, but I had to go in at 3:30 to do the rehearsal. at 3:40, and then get my stuff together because we taped, live to tape at 4 o'clock. So I wasn't pre-taped. I was there with the band playing and with the little, it's the Jay Leno Show, and now Jay Leno, every day at 4 o'clock, which is fantastic. So in the morning, I do the Garfield show, or I do a video game or something, and then show up later in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, 3:30, and do the thing. So it was like, okay, my work day is done. Now I'm going to go hang out with people I love, people like family, and we're going to have some laughs and we're going to have fun. And Jay had a rule that everybody had to be out of there by 5:30 to be home with their families. He wanted people home with their families. He didn't want to keep anybody late, keep anybody working too much. He says, no, we're done at 5:30 and everybody's home with their families for dinner. And that was his rule. So I miss it every day.
See, cousin, he loves you. Arnold kept on saying, I'm actually watching the 60s Batman when I heard you voice Frank Gorshin's Riddler. Can you do his laugh?
Yes, Frank Gorshin, the Riddler. There are three, riddle me this, Batman, you cowed clod. There are 3 men in a boat with 4 cigarettes, but no matches. How do they manage to smoke? Correct, boy wonder. You know the answer to that riddle?
I don't. I think Ryan does, though. Go ahead.
There are 3 men in a boat with 4 cigarettes, but no matches.
Actually, watch this episode too. I forgot.
There are 3 men in a boat with 4 cigarettes, but no matches. How do they manage to smoke? They threw 1 cigarette overboard and made the boat a cigarette lighter.
Damn it.
Correct, boy wonder. Anyway.
Our own Jen Messina says, hi, was it like voicing on Invader Zim?
Oh my gosh. That was fun. Jonan has such a crazy view of the world. It's just wonderful. That it was a lot of fun, and I knew that working on that show, first couple episodes, I'm like, this is way ahead of its time. This is going to be this is way ahead of its time. Right around the time when we were doing the show, I was lucky enough to be hired to sing a song for a Halloween promotion that was on cereal boxes of Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and Boo Berry. So there was a CD that was packaged into the cereal box on those 3 cereals, and I got to do one of the songs. Now, when I was a kid, there were records that came on the back of cereal boxes. You could play it on a turntable. So to be on a cereal box, that was another mind-blowing opportunity. So I'm on a cereal box. So I went out to to all the stores and bought up all these boxes of cereal with my song on it and gave them out as promotional items. So I had a box of Boo Berry. Do you know what Boo Berry is?
Yes.
You see the ghost, and you see behind him a trail leading up to a haunted house on a hill. Mm-hmm. So I said, hey, Jonan, I'm doing because I had just met him. I'd just been working for him a couple episodes. I said, hey, here's a free box of cereal as a promotion. I have a song on the CD that's attached to this box and blah, 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 and, enjoy it. So he's looking at the box. He's looking at the box. And he said, he looks at Boo Berry and he goes, I wonder what he died of. Why is he a ghost? What did he die? Who was he in his human form? What did he die of? Was he murdered? That's the way his mind works. And then he looked at the haunted house in the artwork and he said, I wonder what the inside of that house looks like. Wow, that's pretty brilliant. So yeah, it was great. And it just how his mind works. And it was pretty fun. And I said, from now on, I'm not coming anywhere near you, Jonan. We are social distancing. Anyway, I'd like to put in another plug for these amazing Psycho Ranger masks. I don't know who makes these. Maybe he'll write a question in and plug himself. But I love these masks. I get a lot of great compliments on them. So anyway, run out and get yours today.
Kevin Thompson Jones. I like Zatch Bell, but mainly still had it. He should review and give a power ending. Oh, you were in Zatch Bell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was,
you didn't know he's a Zatch
I
Bell?
didn't know
I
that.
was Brago and Barry and Praying Mantis Joe and a couple other characters. But yeah, again, Brago was basically Clint Eastwood. Brago had the coolest costume because it looked like he was in Kiss. You know, he had the white face makeup and the black markings and the crazy spiky hair and like a black fur thing with some platform show. I'm sure whoever designed that character was probably a Kiss fan. But again, Brago was like this.
Oh my God.
We're gonna go cast this spell and bring Psycho Blue back. No, don't say Psycho Blue 3 times. So yeah, that was fun. But I didn't watch the show, so I wasn't aware of how it ended. But yeah, some of these have great ends. You know what has a great ending, and is a great anime that has a great story arc, and I can't talk enough about it, is Tiger and Bunny. Love Tiger and Bunny. Love Tiger and Bunny. That's a fantastic show. So anyway, but yeah, thanks for that question.
So our own TRZ is asking, what was it like being one of the only P iterations of the Batman villain, King Tut? Oh my God.
Well, the first animated film that we did where I did the Riddler, James Tucker, who's a brilliant, his sensibilities for the DC animated world is off the charts amazing. So, but James Tucker, like myself, is a huge 66 Adam West Bat nerd. So Wes Gleason was the voice director, and there's an engineer and a couple other people there. But James Tucker and I could speak the 66 Bat language. And it was like speaking a different language, because he would throw me references that I knew. And the other guys would be like, nah. So it was great. So there was a scene in the first animated film, Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders, where there was all the famous 66 villains together. They were breaking out of jail or something. They all said huzzah, huzzah. So they had, all these images. So we're looping the movie. We're doing the ADR, and we're picking out some of the villains. And James says, see any villains in there you want to voice? I'm like, yeah, let me try Falseface, because Malachi Throne, who was Falseface, was a friend of mine. So, okay, beep, 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 huzzah, 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 because Malachi had a really, huge voice. And I said, ooh, King Tut, let's do King Tut. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. So we're just, goofing around, having fun. Okay, that's fine. We'll have some of the other guys do some of the other villains. So when they did the sequel, Batman vs. Two-Face, my agent called and said, oh, they're going to do another sequel to the Batman thing. I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, you're the Riddler and King Tut. King Tut? Really? I didn't even audition for it. It's just that James said, oh, no, Wally did King Tut during the huzzah thing. So I got the role based on saying one word, huzzah. So that was my audition, apparently, for the first one. So I'm like, well, this has got to be good, because I got to really do this well. So the second movie, Riddler, had less to do, but King Tut had a lot to do, and he turned into Professor McElroy. So that's a very different personality for him as well. So I started studying the episodes and then watching all the Victor Buono King Tut episodes, which were fantastic. But again, when you're doing Victor Buono, who is a very, very large man, he was about 500 pounds. You have to sound very fat when you do the voice. You have to sound like you're out of breath, constantly lugging around that huge 500-pound body. And then, of course, when he was King Tut, he would roll his R's. Tuttings! Attend your master. And then, of course, when he was when he got conked on the head, he was Professor McElroy. He went, oh dear, no, I don't want to cause any violence. I don't want to do this. It's very bad. Oh, I'm sorry, Batman, but I can't help it. When I get hit on the head, I turn into King Tut. I'm so sorry. Oh, please, boys, don't riot. No, that's not the way to do it. So it was two very different personalities. So then I found out that Shatner was going to be Two-Face, and his lawyer character, Harvey Dent, was going to grill Professor McElroy on the witness stand. I'm like, I got a scene with Shatner. Well, of course we didn't record together, but still, we're together in the show. So I thought because I knew Adam West for 37 years, so it was great having scenes with him, having him pound me and arrest me, in the movie, the character. I'm like, wow, I get to get beat up by Batman. It's an anime, it's an animation, but still it's kind of cool. And then once I found out, well, now I get a scene with Adam in the second movie, scenes with Adam, and now Shatner, again, blew my mind. So it's a very blessed life. So cheers to that.
All right, guys.
I have a question real quick. So what was it like working with Burt Ward, the original Robin in Batman?
Well, we for that we did all of our lines separately for that movie because Adam wasn't living in Los Angeles. He lived in either Palm Springs or Idaho. So they had to get, because he had a lot of lines, so they had to get all of his stuff out of the way. And Burt had a lot of lines, so they brought him in. He lives outside of Los Angeles as well. So he was in for one day, and they said, well, look, while we got him, let's get all of his lines, and then he can go back. So, but I've known Burt, for a long time as well. And he's terrific. And I worked with him on the Hollywood Museum's Batman exhibit that we did back in 2017, I believe, of the Salute to 66 Batman. So yeah, no, it's I love what he did as Robin, and I love what he's doing now as the Gentle Giants creator of the Gentle Giants dog food line. And Roxy, who you just saw, has been a Gentle Giants fan ever since I got her. I put her on that food, and they're doing amazing things with the dog food line. So yeah, he's went from Cape Crusader to the Canine Crusader. So good for him. So yeah, he and his wife Tracy are good friends. So yeah, it's great.
All right, guys, I will do two more. Timmy Dacus says, "Did you ever meet Carol Spinney, the voice of Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street?"
Yes, I did. And can either of you hum? Hum a tune for 60 seconds. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
Something. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Can you tell me how to get? Oh my God!
Yes! Yes!
Oh my God!
Yes! Oh, not another one of these again. Oh no. Hi guys.
Bro.
Okay, I'm actually fanboy right now.
All right, what do you want to know, huh? Losers.
How big is that? How big is that trash can you live in, Oscar?
How big is that trash can?
Does it go to like a different world?
It keeps me socially distanced from people like you.
When you go in your can, is it like a giant mansion or is it just close quarters?
You will never know. I'm not telling. I'm not giving away all my secrets. What do you think I am, crazy? Yeah. Anyway, so yes, the answer to the question is I did meet Carol Spinney. Great guy. I had him. He was a cartoonist as well, so I had him draw a cartoon. I had two. I'm a huge collector of movie posters, like one sheets. And when Follow That Bird came out, I got both of the one sheets that they had available at the movie theater. And so I always had two in my collection, and I brought them up to him to have them signed. And he said, "Oh, I was always supposed to get one of these posters, but they never sent me one." And I said, "Well, I've got two of them. I only need one really signed. I don't, you have the other one, have the second one." "Oh, no, I couldn't do that." No, my gift to you, my gift to you. So he loved that. And I also met him at San Diego Comic-Con, and Stan Freberg was there. And there's a great, I wish I could bring these pictures up. Let's see, maybe I can. A great, let's see, Carol Spinney. Here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. I will show you this picture. This is really great. Very, very dear man. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, so back to this. How do I do this? Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So, so he sent me a very nice postcard thanking me for not only sending him a picture of him and Stan Freberg together, but also for the poster. And very, 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 very nice guy. And when he passed away, I actually wore a yellow feather in my one of my caps that I would wear from time to time as a kind of a tribute. So yeah, he was one of the greats.
Definitely. So we'll do one more from Bone Call. Oh, it's a request. So it's asking, can you do your Psycho Ranger intro thing? Like, well, you're faster than me, smarter than me, stronger than me. So can you voice your Psycho Blue?
Okay, saying those three things.
Yeah.
Here's a weird story. Somebody came up to have me sign a Psycho Blue picture and say, "Can you put smarter than you?" I'm like, "Well, why would you want me to put my Riddler quote as Psycho Blue?" And they said, "Oh no, you said that as Psycho Blue." I'm like, "I did?" It's like, "Yeah, but I also said it as Riddler, as to Batman. I'm smarter than you, Batman." And I'm like, "Wow, what are the chances you would do two characters that would say the same thing like 20 years apart? I'm smarter than you." Like, that's so weird. So I put that back up again. Let's see what.
Yeah. So he's actually one of our members. He's asking if you can say that line.
Okay, here we go. He wants me to say, "Well, you're faster than me, smarter than me, stronger than me." Okay, go on.
Well, you are faster than me, smarter than me, stronger than me, but not better looking than me.
All right, Mike, you happy now? You got that?
Oh my god.
Have you ever seen a Psycho Ranger 5-pack, Wally? If so, what are your thoughts on them finally releasing the whole team?
Well, it's good to have the gang all together. You know, what took them so long?
Yeah.
20 years, really? 20 years? Finally, really? 20 years it took you that long to? That's weird.
And they never made Psycho Ranger action figures back in the day, too.
Yeah, I know. Better late than never. Happy that they're out because that's kind of cool. So I've got this one, and then I got the lightning one. I got that in Orlando. So yeah, pretty cool. I like it. So yeah, no, they look great. I mean, like I said, the design on those characters are crazy good. So they need to have them, more. They need to bring them back in the actual show, Quick plug, Laurel and Hardy, the definitive restorations is out on Blu-ray. Get that. Good stuff. I love Laurel and Hardy, always have, always will. And to see that these films are now out and have been restored in 2K and 4K Blu-ray, I can't wait. It's going to blow my mind. When I was a kid, every Saturday night they had Laurel and Hardy Theater at 10:30 at night, and I'd stay up and I would watch Laurel and Hardy Theater. So I think in honor of the boys, as they call them, I think tonight I'm going to order a pizza and watch one of the restored films tonight because it'll be Saturday night and it's amazing. So anyway, I love Laurel and Hardy. Strangely enough, Mark Hamill is a huge Laurel and Hardy fan as well. So I emailed him the other day. I said, "Have you seen this? Get this right away." So hopefully he will.
All right, guys. So with that, technically, that's all, you guys. All right, guys. This technically ends the interview.
No more questions?
Yeah, it's all gone, Wally.
Oh man.
But anyway, Wally.
No,
Yeah.
face, the final curtain. I'll say well, I will myself. Oh, it's all hoo-ha. I'll say all over. Sorry. All right.
I did it my way.
Please. But yeah,
I did my way. Whatever. All right.
Well, where can you find you in social media?
Right around Donny Osmond's ass. That's where
and social media. Let's see. At Wally Wingert, Wally.Wingert, WallyOnTheWeb.com, and because this looks like it's going to be the year without cons, and I was going to do some stuff. I'm going to set up a store on my website so people can order photos, signed stuff. And I will have a way to have people ship me stuff because people have already talked about sending the 5-pack, have me sign that and then send it back and then they get the other guys somehow. So yeah, so be watching WallyOnTheWeb.com. Within the next couple of weeks, I'll have a store set up. So because it just doesn't look like I'm going to be getting out much this year. So if anybody wants stuff signed, that's the way to do it. So cool.
And Leo, where can you find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram at @TheReckless_Fox, YouTube Reckless_Fox, and find all my latest game content on
Okay, slow down and say that slower.
Okay.
Where can I find you?
on Twitter and Instagram at @TheReckless_Fox. Follow me on my YouTube page, Reckless_Fox, and follow all my latest game content on twitch.tv/RecklessFox. And you want more content, myself and our boy Mike and Jen, we do our own video game podcast every weekend. Follow us on SoundCloud.com/ScrubClubGaming. And Ryan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, DancerBoy247. We're gonna watch some of my dance videos, maybe, hopefully. And also YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Morphin Network. So again, guys, thank you. Thanks so much.
I'm so envious. I'm so envious of you guys to have this capability to talk to the world like this, and do videos. You can cut your own stuff on the computer now. We had to make Super 8 films when I was a kid, and we had no audience. But this is so great that you guys have this ability to talk to the world, and just amazing the technology. I wish I'd had this technology when I was your age, and my life would have maybe been a little different. But it's great. Good.
Oh, yeah. So Wally, he's gonna play this next. Do you agree? He's gonna play this game next.
Oh God!
Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah.
Come on, do it, man. Do it.
Yeah, do it.
You were waiting for us to interview Wally for. Okay, fine. Listen, when Tron 3 gets a release date, I will play Kingdom Hearts. Okay.
What do you got against Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, what do you got against Kingdom Hearts?
Okay. Oh God. Okay, listen. I have nothing against Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the game where I do have some issues for, but because it feels underwhelming. But every other Kingdom Hearts game was fine. The first one, second one are great. Well, the second one is my personal favorite. I own Birth by Sleep. I haven't played yet because I'm playing. Where is my copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake? I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake right now on Twitch. So, but yes, when Tron 3 does get an announcement, when it gets a release date, I will go and play Kingdom Hearts. Okay, and Wally can DM me and be like, hey, remember Kingdom Hearts? I'm like, okay, fine. Okay,
I have a friend named Emma who lives for Kingdom Hearts. That has a huge following. So I would, yeah. Well, but this is what you do. This is your thing. You need to have a very well-rounded, play what you like, of course, but sometimes you got to play what you don't like just to kind of have the knowledge of what it's all about. So it's incumbent upon you as a media personality now to have a well-rounded view of all this stuff.
Take that advice, Leo. That's good advice.
I will take that advice. So yes, I will play Kingdom Hearts again at some point. Let me just finish Final Fantasy VII and Bloodstained. And
Oh yeah, see? Oh look. See? Told you. I warned you, Leo. See?
So scram! Get out of here! You're bothering me.
Alright guys, thank you guys so much.
Back in the can. Bye guys.
Alright, goodbye from us.
Leo, Ryan, Mr. Wally, and Oscar. As we all say goodbye, have a good day. Please be safe. So long.
And the other Psycho Blue. Woo!